What's up, witches? I'm Taylor.
And I'm Amber.
And this is
Waking Up the Witch. We're your neighborhood witches. Each week, we talk about all things witchy and connect with other humans in a storytelling format about navigating life on this floating rock.
We're two curious ladies trying to understand the human experience. But while we do that, we think it's important to honor the people that lived here before us and honor the cultures and traditions that we're being inspired by.
This podcast is about waking up the witch, which means we are learning and growing every day. That being said, we are always open to feedback on how we can do better.
The views and opinions of our guests don't necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Waking Up the Witch. Now, let's go, ghouls. Hey, Amber.
Hi, Taylor.
Long time no see.
I know, I miss you.
I miss you. I miss doing this.
Me too. It's been longer than we were planning.
I hate not doing this.
I hate not doing this. I'm feeling so good after our interview today. I just love talking to people and deep diving. And I wish, like, the more we do this, I always think about, like, I just wish we could, like, why don't we do that when we make new friends?
I feel like we did do that when we met.
I think we did. But, like, it doesn't always happen.
Spill our guts to each other.
Like, tell me everything about you. I just want to, like, try to keep that in mind because it just feels so good and immediately creates, like, comfortability, I feel, too, with people. Like, even when we've talked to strangers, by the end of it doesn't really feel like they're strangers anymore.
Yeah, I love it.
Break the social awkwardness. How have you been?
Great. I was telling you this morning, I don't know if it's like third trimester energy boost or if it was from my body code, but I feel better than I have the entire time I've been pregnant. I feel like a human being. I mean, like, I'm waddling and it's like
you're still pregnant.
Yeah, and it's like kind of having a small bowling ball on your pelvis. But I'm not, like, I was getting really sore and in a lot of pain, and that's kind of gone. Like, I'm uncomfortable, but I'm not hurting. And I'm like just doing normal people stuff that I imagine other pregnant ladies do, that I've just been looking at bewildered the whole time. Like, how are you doing that? Like, I'm not in bed all day. I've like really put this whole house together. I moved.
Yeah, you found a home.
I manifested it. The only thing that it doesn't have that was on my list was like a deep bathtub, and it still has a bathtub. It just doesn't have a big deep one. But maybe I wasn't.
Have you tried it yet?
Enough. No, but I feel like I should clean it because they didn't do a great job cleaning everything.
Definitely clean it. I'm so excited to see it when we're done with this.
It's amazing. It feels like I've lived there for a long time already. Like, it just feels really good. I'm gonna have my baby in that house. Like, everything fits in all the places nice, and I can't wait to like spend a bunch of money bougieing the place up and making it like, I mean, I have a formal living room and a regular living room.
That's amazing.
I love not having stairs.
I
hate living in a place with stairs.
Well, yeah, your last place, your bedroom was upstairs.
Yeah, and having the old dog, like, everything's just so much easier.
Yeah.
We bought a dog door. Nobody has to get up in the middle of the night and like walk all the way down the stairs and let the dogs out. Like, you literally they just jump off the bed and go pee. It's like
so nice.
So nice. Learning curve.
Yeah.
At first, but the dogs love the yard. It's just crazy to do this podcast and like put all these things out into the world and then have recorded that they all happen. Like, everything I've called in happens.
Such a fun reminder that we can literally create anything that we desire and are actually doing it. You have that record.
Right now, I'm putting it out there for everybody. I will make a shit ton of money on maternity leave. So that is my newest. Watch me do it.
Yes.
Because we all know I get what I want.
I can't wait to watch you make a bunch of money.
Thank you. I don't know how I'm going to do it yet, but I will. And my goal is to just like work very minimal hours from home and support my husband and my mom and my baby. So that we can all just live a normal fucking life, because everything's so expensive that you have to be kind of rich to be comfortable.
Yeah, it's that inflation really, now that we're like a year past like super high hikes in prices, it's kind of like everything just feels a little bit more uncomfortable. I feel like I haven't felt that way since my 20s.
Yeah.
Like,
definitely reality.
We have to start eating ramen noodles again.
Yeah.
I mean, we might.
We definitely are like trying to not eat out. And it's like, I don't actually want to live that way. I want to be able to do whatever I want whenever I want. And I know that that's a huge privilege, but I've also been really poor, so I can I deserve it. If I can make it happen.
If you can make it happen, absolutely. And we know you can.
And I like being bougie. I want to be bougie. I want to buy expensive shit and like just be like, yeah. And I want to go do stuff and like not worry about it. Like, I have expensive taste and I want to be able to nurture that side of myself.
Did I ever tell you about the time when I was younger, little, and my aunt, my like witchy aunt, would take me to the grocery store? This is where I got the nickname Amber Applehead. And she put my hair on a little pony on top of my head, and I just looked like a little bobbing apple. And she'd let me get whatever I wanted just to watch me push around the little baby shopping cart. And we'd go up to the meat counter, and she'd ask me what kind of meat we want. And I'd always point at the filet mignon. She's like, you've always had expensive taste.
Yeah. It's like everything I click on online, I'm like, oh my God, that's cute. And I'm like, oh, $500. Okay. It's literally a t-shirt, but whatever. And that's fine. I think it's okay.
You also are good at thrifting at the same time. Like I
mean, all of my furniture besides my couch is like hand-picked, handmade from Marketplace and stuff like that. And I like things that are well made. And I think that
they last.
That's the problem with the society we live in, is everything's fast fashion. Everything is like processed foods. And it's like, to get out of that cycle of, I don't want to say all this just because I know that it is also a privilege to be able to buy foods that are healthy and all that. But it's like, to get out of that cycle of bullshit and toxicity, it takes money.
Yeah.
And
because all that shit makes us sick too.
Well, and if you're buying something from like one person, it's gonna cost more money because they don't have a factory and like they're not exploiting all these people to make this thing. Like, you have to understand, even if it's just like a spice blend, it's gonna be a little bit more because somebody's putting their heart and soul into that, and they have to make money off of it, and they're trying to give it to you for as low as a price as they can without, sacrificing. So I think that's not even being bougie.
No.
That's just like wanting normal, nice things, or like healthy, and like the clothes we're wearing are killing us.
Yeah.
The foods we're eating are killing us. And I just don't want that.
I don't want to die.
I mean, eventually I want to die, but like not.
I want to die when I'm ready to die.
And then it's like, you also have to find this balance, because that can be really expensive, and there's some things that are more convenient. So I just went on a tangent, but you get my point. I don't think we've talked, but I started the new salon, and it's literally been the easiest transition I've ever had into anything. And it's exactly what I need right now, and I'm so grateful. It's just like, it's been so fucking easy.
That's so good.
And like, I couldn't ask for anything more.
And are your clients like so happy that you're back in Medford too?
Everybody's happy. Everything's easy. I don't know. I'm just like, all I need right now is easy breezy, not something that I have to put a bunch of energy into. I'm mourning my place, but honestly, I haven't been that much because like I did it. It was successful. I loved it. It was my safe space. It was far. It was such a far drive every day and a lot of work. And I think it was a lot of work, but if I were to do it again, I'd do it way bigger. But then have like support staff too, you know,
different scale for sure.
So it's been great. What's going on with you?
I just got back from 2 weeks of traveling again. Went to Iowa, which is where my bestie Cheyenne lives, and got to meet little baby Edith for the first time, and she is so freaking cute. And it was great because Joey came too, and then our friends Casey and Patrick. The three of them all flew out from Denver. And I had my layover in Denver, so we got to like meet for an hour brunch, which was really fun before they got on their plane. But Joey kept telling all of us, like, I'm going to lose my shit when I meet Edith. Like, just so everyone's aware, I'm going to like totally fucking break down. And sure enough, like we get into the hotel room and like he's not even 5 feet from her. And he's just like red in the face and welling with tears and like fanning his face like, oh my god, I can't and like
that's gonna make me cry.
It was so sweet, but it also like I think we all had emotions too, but then we all just like could not stop laughing and like sharing in the joy that Joey was experiencing. And it was really cute too because Edith was like could not stop looking back at him, kind of like, is he okay? Like, what's wrong with that one? What is he doing? Which, like, her staring directly in his eyes only made him cry more. It was so cute. And so I got to, like, hold her for a while and just, like, share. And, like, even while I was holding her, she's just staring over at Joey. And he starts crying again. And it was so fucking cute. It was so cute. She's a total ham. Her, like, baby smiles are just, like, the most joyful feeling I think anyone could feel. Like if you really sit with a baby and you just like love on them and hold them and like watch their expressions, and when they get that big cheesy giggly smile, there's like no better feeling. I swear, it just raises your own vibrations. You can't help but smile. Or like baby giggles and laughs. Oh my god, like, oh, so cute. So yeah, it was so wonderful just to like be there with her and to like be able to be with little Edie and just sharing their love and the creation that they made together, and her
watch her parent her baby.
Oh my god, so sweet. And like she's always been such a nurturing human and like moms her friends so well that it's like that you were born to be a mom. And it's just so beautiful to watch her and like with her stepdaughters and just how she moms them so well too. And just the whole family dynamic, just being a fly on the wall watching them like be a family is such a gift. It's so sweet. It makes me so happy to see her so happy and to like have this family that she's built and created and that she just so is deserving of. It was so sweet.
So sweet.
Yeah, it was really good. We got to like float on the lake one day, which is at Prairie Rose. It's a state park out there. And Cheyenne books cabins there usually every summer, and you know, friends come out, and it's a really fun thing. I've done a couple summers there. It's like just such a blast. It's so much fun. So we didn't have the cabins this summer because baby, but at least we got to like go out there and float for a little while, which was really fun, and to be able to show Casey and Patrick that. I'm trying to think of we spent our last weekend in Omaha, and Cheyenne had her first baby or first night away from baby and like slumber partied with me and Joey. And we went to a couple gay bars. Like we were just in walking distance of all the best things, which was really nice. And got to go to a couple different drag shows, and it was just so beautiful and so nice to celebrate and to what's the word I'm looking for? Support that community out there, because we all know, we all know just how targeted they are right now, and I mean have been really, if we're being honest about it. But there's big spotlight in that community, and so it was just really nice to go be a part of that and support them and give them all of our money and just like, you know, watch them perform. It is talent. Like it takes so much talent what they do. And we'd even gone to like an amateur one the next night, and like it was beautiful to see them too, like even some of them very nervous and like unsure of their movements, but still like they're fucking out there doing this really scary thing. And to see like where probably most of them started was like in this kind of more seedy underground club, and that was just as fun. It was so neat to like watch all the varying different queens and kings.
About how I tried to do the splits at drag brunch, and I was in physical therapy after, so it's like
they throw their bodies all around,
very talented,
in fucking heels, like
I'm like so many props, because I turned black, like my
oh my god,
black and blue.
Like it is quite a performance. It's so much talent, so much. That's pretty much all we did in Omaha. We went to 3 different drag events, and that was just so fun and so nice to spend time with my besties too. And then got back in town and basically just like sat on the couch for 3 days straight. Coming back to the smoke like really fucking sucks. Smoke season is our 5th season here.
I saw you guys wearing hoodies.
Oh yeah, like the weather in Iowa while we were there, and it was before and after, it was flaming hot again. But the whole week that we were there, except for our very last day, was so fucking nice, like in the 70s and 80s.
I saw a picture. I'm like, are you wearing a fucking hoodie?
I was in a fucking hoodie. I was like, I did not look at the weather before coming out here, because I know it's swampy ass fucking humidity at that time of year. And so I didn't even think to look at the weather. I always look at the weather before I travel, just see like what to get. I was not planning ahead. And I get out there and I was like, I did not bring a pair of jeans. I have dresses and shorts and tank tops. And I have this one sweater that I brought for the plane. At least I had that. And I fucking left my house in my garden house shoes.
Oh, I saw that.
And so I had to go like buy some new shoes while I was out there. I was like, fuck, this is not going to work. They're like, you know, at the toe, at the end where the, what is it called?
I don't know.
The thing that goes over, it's like a band. There's a name for it. But like the toes like splitting, like they're worn, they're lived in. So funny. But so yeah, like coming back to the smoke, it's so hard to be in the smoke. It's like legit. It looks like fog. I was mentioning that, but it is thick ass smoke. It's not. And is hard to breathe out here.
Can't see the mountains.
Yeah, it's pretty depressing time. Pacific Northwest is incredible most of the time, but we very much have to deal with this very thick, nasty smoke. I saw and threats of fire
start. Did
Which one? The Smith River? No.
Jess, my friend Jess and I went to the coast, and then we were driving back, and there was like this one hill mountain, and I was like, is that smoke? It kind of looked like a cloud. And then we drove by, and there were just like 2 little, I took pictures, I'll show you, and like a video. There's just like 2 little spots on fire, and there was no one around yet. And like I tried Googling it, but there was like no information. So it had just started, and it rained. So
yeah, there was lightning strikes.
It was definitely lightning. And by 24 hours later, like that whole spot that we drove by was like gone.
Yeah, our road to our closest beach town is closed because the fire is on both sides. Yeah, and all around it.
Was right there.
So crazy.
I'll show you the video because
it was like, so scary.
I know. It's like if we would have waited, I don't know.
It would have taken you 5 hours to get home to go
up
and
then
around.
Fucking Gold Beach is on fire.
Yep.
So
yeah, like literally right on the ocean. It's not anymore, but that was all in the same time. Yeah, it's crazy. This is always a panicky time of year for anyone living in the Pacific Northwest. And
after everything burnt down in 2020, a lot of people are super traumatized and like having a hard time with any kind of smoke. It like immediately
very triggers you. Yeah, that's scary.
I'm really excited to go to Shasta this week. This weekend. We haven't been able to do the houseboat in the last probably 3 years. Because the lake hasn't had any water in it. It was like literally empty.
And it was really full this year.
It's very full. And there's no smoke there right now. And like I literally looked yesterday, their air quality was like 23.
Yeah.
It's like 400 here. So, and I finally have energy because I was like really anxious about going and like really didn't want to go. And now I'm like, oh, I'm fine. I can like deal with these people.
It's going to be so fun. I can't wait to hear about it.
Yeah. So I'm excited for that. And then I come home for 2 days. And then I go to St. Louis for my baby shower and for Hosier.
Yeah. Did you buy tickets yet?
No.
You're still just like, I'm going to do it
until the day of. Because
that'll be smart.
They're just sold out by bots.
Yeah, fuck that shit.
I'm not paying $200, so
no,
I'm just manifesting that I figure it out, and I will.
That'll be exciting. That'll be so fun.
Be so romantic.
Oh yeah, we went to Portland also.
Yeah.
For just an overnight because we went to go see Sylvanesso at Edgefield McMenamins. Oh my god, it was so
Edgefield's great
fun.
too.
Yeah, it was my first concert there.
It's small, which is great.
Yeah, but I love like an outdoor venue. It's a whole nother vibe, and just like watching the sunset as they're playing their set, and like so much dancing. I have not danced that hard in so long. I didn't drink there. I was just drinking water. I had like a hop water for like a little treat, and I smoked some pot, but I just like I got a little high and danced like a lot. I was like, oh my god, I'm so thirsty. I'm gonna need to drink so much water. I had to like go fill up our water bottle at one point during the show because I was like, I just got to get out of the crowd for a moment, get some anxiety here. But oh my god, it was so incredible, and like one of those bands that I've really wanted to see live for a long time. So that was fun too. And got to go with Rachel, who is our editor.
What's up, Rachel?
What's up, girl? And that was just so fun, like spending time with her and Mark, like two of my favorite humans in the whole world, and dancing together. And then I like going to Portland, and we usually go for shows, and then I get to hang out with Rachel, which is always so nice. And it wasn't really, the air quality was much better there. Still a little smoky. The whole drive was very smoky, but yeah, it's been nice. I'm very happy to be back home and to be able to like get back in the groove of things. I have Moonbees' first new moon ritual coming up on the 14th, which will be really exciting, with my friend Jubilee, who is an astrologer. She's done some mini astro readings here in my shop before, and so that will be fun. She'll kind of like help us learn about how we can use the new moon to plant seeds and learn about kind of the current astro happenings, which will be really fun. I'm super excited. And then in October, Julia is coming down. Julia, my friend and mentor who lives in Bend, and we're going to be hosting a workshop here that'll be kind of teaching you how to channel and connect with your past loved ones. So like I really feel like now is the time of Moonbees where I get to introduce all of these workshops and events and things that I've been wanting to put together, but life has been so busy since opening my shop that I just wanted to have some consistency in doing that. So I'm very excited to start doing that. I'm also really wanting to put on the calendar for September, if I can, like my first group drumming here too. So this next week I'll be kind of like putting together that calendar and seeing where I can create space for those things. So
amazing.
So happy to be back and doing this and being in Moonbees and being home with my dogs and cats and husband. It's good.
It's great.
Anything else from you?
No, this banana is really far away from me, but the smell of it is making me grossed out. That's all I have to say.
What's the bump date?
30 weeks. Baby is a giant. I don't know.
I felt the baby today.
Yeah, she's
like
violently kicking me, which is such an interesting feeling. 3.4 pounds.
Oh.
15.95 inches.
Whoa.
Yep. She is.
That's like
her. Yeah.
My arm. Probably.
A little bit.
That's probably like a foot.
Yeah. Her skin is starting to get some melanin in it. Baby hairs, the little lanugo, which is like those like the fine hairs that are on like your face and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And then my baby can open her eyes and see dim shapes. By 31 weeks, the pupils are able to constrict and expand.
Whoa. Let's have a light show for the baby.
Apparently your belly button can like okay, so there's this really creepy thing that can happen called an incarcerated hernia.
What?
And it's like the intestines push through the opening in the tissue and it bulges out of your belly button. And like the pain comes from the small piece of intestine squeezing into a small space and causes surgery. So that's disgusting and not sorry if that happened to you. That sounds really awful.
Like a hemorrhoid on your belly button.
And like it also says that like first of all, Curtis won't stop touching my fucking belly button and I'm like I'm gonna punch you in the dick.
Yeah.
Like leave me the fuck alone.
Oh my gosh.
And when I read him this, I'm like, some people even have to wear bandages over their belly button because they're so sensitive. So fuck off and stop touching me.
Yeah, your like insides are being pushed outside.
Yeah. Some brown discharge can happen. Fatigue.
In the pantalones.
Swelling. Yeah, not your belly button. In your underwear.
Without
mood
swings,
belly button. Shortness of breath. Honestly, it's crazy because in the beginning of this app, it's like not that many symptoms on the mom, and then like the baby ones are really long. Now the baby's doing less changing, and the mom's like, you can have all this fucked up shit happen to you. But honestly, I feel great in the third trimester, which is not normal.
That's so happy. I hope
the nesting is so fun.
Yeah, well, especially like moving into a new home.
Oh my God,
like
so fun.
Like you already naturally are gonna nest, but now you get to like create a home
I've like
for your
folded
baby.
all my clothes into like really like I'm even folding my underwear in these like little envelope shapes and like everything's put in perfect spots and the freaking like vacuum lines. I'm just having so much fun. Never done so much laundry in my life. I'm really enjoying
it.
Yeah. I'm like, it's great. It's right next to the bedroom. Kurt's like, it was before. I didn't like that one. And we have a different washer. I don't know. It's so been funny. Great. Baby's good. She's violent. She's I think she'll kick and then I put my hand there and she like stops. So I think she's like, hold me.
Oh.
And then I hold her. She's like, okay, thanks. Very much wiener dog vibes. Getting from this baby. That's it.
That's so happy.
Yeah.
So soon.
10 weeks.
Oh, that's so crazy.
Give or take, could be less. I only work for 6 more weeks.
Yeah, that's so wild with like a week and a half of travel. And
I only have 18 more work days.
That's less than 3 weeks of work days. That's so cool.
I'm ready to be fucking done with it.
You're gonna be a mama. I mean, you already are a mama.
There's gonna be someone else living in my house all the time.
Something outside of your house, outside of your body house, and in your real house.
Okay.
Well, today's guest was really incredible. She is a medicine woman of many, many different trades, focusing mostly on women's health and wellness in energetic ways. She's incredible. She's in Ashland, Oregon. So if you are local or close by, or even if you happen to come out here, I cannot recommend working with her enough. It was a very life-changing experience for me when I saw her last month. And her and her husband are just doing wonderful things in the world for people on a spiritual
level. It's another reason I need to make a bunch of money is so I can pay for all my friends to experience all the services of everyone that we interview.
Seriously, feeling so blessed to know so many cool practitioners that are helping people in such unique, beautiful ways. So we hope you enjoy hearing her story and learning about her services and the magic that she creates in the world. It's a very beautiful episode.
Enjoy.
We'll start today by closing our eyes if that feels safe for you, and just starting with 3 deep breaths to connect our energy and to get grounded. Breathe in deep and release. Another deep breath in and release. One last deep breath in and exhale. I'd like to take a moment to invite in our higher selves, our ancestors, any guides who'd like to join us today. Please wrap us in love and protection, helping us to feel safe and calm and open. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm so excited for our guest today.
Hello.
Please introduce yourself.
Hello, I am Shannon Tinder, and so grateful to be here with you too, Amber and Taylor and Baby. It's an honor.
Please just tell us a little bit about what you do in the daily world, and feel free to tell us how you got there, how you became Shannon Tinder today.
Well, how I became Shannon Tinder, that's a big story, but I'm a medicine woman first and foremost, and that's a big umbrella. Mm-hmm. It's been a long journey of decades and really my whole life of collecting tools in my tool bag and being the witchy woman that I am. And that's lifetimes as well that have brought me to this moment. In my day-to-day healing center practice, I work mostly with women. I focus on energy healing, balancing. I call it, it's like a shamanic deep dive that's very womb centric. It's based in holistic pelvic care and sexological body work, where I'm really helping women come back to their bodies, come back to remembering their wholeness and accessing the deep creative power that is rooted in the pelvis. I do this through a lot of tools. I'm an herbalist, intuitive guide. I read Akashic records. I do biofield tuning, vibrational frequency attunement with tuning forks. I do oracle tarot cards, craniosacral, tantra. So it's a lot that goes into what I currently offer, and I love it. I'm a multi-passionate person, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Though sometimes it's frustrating.
I relate.
Yeah. So my husband and I have a healing center in Ashland, Sacred Living Center, and we both do somatic trauma-informed body work. I not only do I offer the womb-centric sessions, but I do those Akashic and biofield tuning sessions on their own. And I work a lot with plants in different ways. And so that's, in addition to being a mama and a wifey, that's my current presentation to the world. I'm in the middle of a goo. And so I'm curious what comes out of that in the next like 6 months.
That just gave me chills.
I've done a lot of online. Yeah, I'm loving it. I've actually been super on a kick with astrocartography, and I'm like hunting down the right place to land on my Venus line to get like a little infusion and igniting of like what's next.
What's a goo?
Like transformation, cocoon.
I'm in between. Like I'm in the caterpillar, in the goo, and not quite yet the butterfly. In like my next reincarnation of who I am, what I do.
Such a good place
because I get bored.
It's hard, but it's it's gooey and messy and sad really, sometimes, but it's so freaking good.
It's good, and I'm really okay with it this time. You know, I've been through many evolutions of goo. But yeah, you know what I will, you know, in thinking about waking up the witch, and I was like, when was that? I really kind of came into this world awake. My mom became a born again Christian when she was pregnant with me, and then my dad, he'd had a brain injury like a year before I was born, and which he recovered miraculously from, but was atheist. So I grew up in this very like polarized home, and my mom was like taught me faith healing, and she was very natural. She worked a lot with like whole foods and eating healthy and herbs. She gave me my first herbal book in high school, and but just very Christian too. And she'd take me to she'd go to the nursing homes and pray for people and lay her hands on people and do healings. And I hated it as a kid, but, you know, in retrospect, like it taught me so much. And she taught me the power of prayer and words and really feeling the Holy Spirit. She would speak in tongues, and, you know, I was always like, oh, she's just a little weird. But then, you know, 7 years ago, I went to this sound healing, and somebody was speaking in light language, and it just activated those codes in me that had been there, planted from my mom, of really being able to channel light language and understanding what speaking in tongues and what they're, you know, really kind of doing. And I'd go to church services where we'd get drunk in the Holy Spirit and like just like pray all night and just have this intense connection with spirit that felt very alive. Then meanwhile, like this opposite energy of my dad being atheist, and it's just all or nothing. And his sisters and my grandma were very new agey, into aliens and just everything that like was also alluring to me. So I had this like polarity of worlds, and their world was very mystical. And I was very intrigued always, even though I'm like, that is evil. My mom was like, that is evil. We don't do that.
And were they married this whole time too?
Yes, till I was 12.
That's wild.
Yeah, I know. My dad he was a quiet man that put up with a lot. But you know, meanwhile, what was like brewing in me was this. I'm a double Pisces sun and moon, Gemini rising. So it's like my nature is this kind of split energy. And I can see it, how my home life brought that up. And, but everything was just stirring in me that like this naughty, evil side felt better and was intriguing. And I loved it to like do anything that was maybe naughty, even though I was like this really good girl.
Love that.
And so that's kind of my roots. And, you know, I wanted to be a doctor, a teacher, and own a restaurant when I was a kid. And so I feel like I've kind of done all that but in a really better way now. And so, you know, I think it was years of being in the church and just starting to really question, like, this is just not right. And my mom was a very insecure person. She was the kind that kind of was easy to follow religion. And I just was like, this is just kind of fucked up. And so questioning and really just feeling also like these things that were really raw and real inside of me, like my sexuality and my curiosity, especially as I hit puberty. It was just like, this shouldn't be wrong, and wanting to like find a safe way, but I didn't know what that meant at all, to embrace like a very sexual nature inside of me. Mm-hmm. And it caused a lot of compartmentalization within my own connection to my sexuality. And then like later on years finding like issues with intimacy because they were two separate things. And so through the years, you know, my parents split and my world kind of split even more. And I just kind of led a little bit of two lives, although the naughty evil side, like gaining more traction, and I'm drawn to anything in the occult, anything to do with medicine and magic. And finally, I think like at 17, 18, started experimenting with psychedelics. Mm-hmm. And my, excuse me, my first really big acid trip blew my world open. It was like I'd had little like tidbits here and there of, you know, some good pot and a little bit of acid, nothing major. But this one, right at the end of high school, I was like, okay, there is a multi-dimensional world here. Yeah. Everything is okay and everything is real. And I was never the same after that. And right at that point, my aunt had given me a book on channeling, and I took it with me on a trip after high school to Hawaii, and just became this empowered woman, and was able to completely like let go of all Christian roots and just find my path.
That's incredible. It's always the psychedelics. You just see past all the veils. Can't come back.
Thread here.
Yeah, I wish. I got really into like reading all about the history of psychedelics, and I just like the electric Kool-Aid acid test, and you know, wishing everyone could get dosed somehow.
That's me in high school. I was like, if I could just dose my parents, then they'd understand.
Right?
What a different world we would live in.
Oh, so different. Mm-hmm. And then I tried to go to college a little bit, and it just was like this is bullshit. Mm-hmm. And so just decided to do life instead. And I ended up in Arcata in Humboldt, and that's a beautiful town to nurture the witch in one. And I was there in my early 20s and had the time of my life, learning. My aunt attuned me to Reiki, my other aunt, and I became an herbalist, did a big program there, and really just activated everything in me that was wanting to just go for it. I studied with an energy practitioner who was a little ahead of my time. I wasn't quite ready to see how she saw the world, but deep roots planted. And then I ended up in Arizona in Phoenix going to massage school, where then even better, all of the language came online of like all the clairs and like how I feel, and realizing like how clair sentient I'd been my entire life, and feeling everyone's stuff. Like I grew up knowing I was different, but also with a very insecure mom. So I had no like language and no way to like sort that out. That I was just feeling everything, and there was no like filter, and I was hearing everyone's thoughts. And actually, Celestine Prophecy book helped me sort that out. It was one of the first like very pivotal books in my life, my early 20s. And like, oh, actually everyone's fucked up, and it's okay. Yeah. And we're just doing this human thing. And that has really like woven my path now in the decades of adult life of helping everyone be human. And I think that's what I'm most passionate about when I try to like look at what do I really do? I nourish and nurture humanness.
I think that's so important, especially like in the witchy community. Like once you kind of step your foot in and you realize that we all have all these different clairs, and you start to recognize how you're receiving information, and then you're just like, okay, now I'm connected to more than this earthly plane. And a lot of us, and some more than others, will kind of live more up in the higher chakra area for so long, and we forget that we are humans, and the reason why we are here is to be humans and have the earthly experience. And so it's really nice to have other practitioners who are helping people become more grounded and come back into their bodies instead of like always trying to escape, because I feel like it's just another kind of a drug or a substance when we really start to live more up in our crown chakra and above. It just becomes addictive, and in a way that we are trying to escape our reality too. So, and it's a slippery slope for some, for sure. I think it's really beautiful that you already know and are in tune with bringing people into their bodies and living their experience here on earth, even though sometimes it's really hard for us.
Yeah, I liked how you put that. It's so true. I think that there's, a lot of things that lead people to just living that high, but it's, I'm really kind of anti-ascension culture. Yeah, it's the descend. We're here. We're in the muck of it. Let's get our roots in. I've always just identified with when I ground, I'm a tree or I'm a dandelion. I'm just like this plant going deep into the earth. And people doing vegan raw diets, I think goes really extreme too, because they just stay super yinned out, and that can be very addictive. This very, we have to have the balance, and that's everything that I really teach. It's interesting. My North Node is actually in Libra, so my whole life goal is to learn balance.
No wonder why you're in your goo too, with the shift in the nodes.
There's a shift in the nodes right now.
Yeah, the South Node is in Libra right now, and North Node is in Aries. It just shifted in July, I believe. So for the next 18 months, definite gooey transitions for those wherever that lives in your chart.
Well, I'm really hoping my goo's not that long. I was told April was the longest.
Maybe you'll start to step your foot out in August.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think, as far as being embodied, and really I've called myself an embodiment coach, but it's kind of feels overdone. But really, that's a lot of what I am. One of my most favorite tools is just bringing my hand to my heart and my hand to my womb, and taking a breath in and out of those spaces, because our hands run energy, and they are the current, the arcs of the currents that run through us. And when we bring those to places in our body, it just connects the circuitry, and it's the easiest, quickest way to just land inside. And when I started really doing, I've been on this path for a couple decades of studying healing work. And when I moved to Ashland almost 9 years ago, I was looking to get back to work, because we've been homesteading on 45 acres in Northern California for years, and remote. And I really wanted to be back in service and not just be a mom and non-homesteader. And so I started taking more classes, and I found I'd already had the book Wild Feminine by Tammy Kent. And I found her work of holistic pelvic care. And it just lit me up, and it brought me back to this place of okay, yes, everything is in the body, and it all comes down to the womb space. And I realized, kind of weaving back to what I was sharing earlier, of just shutting down and compartmentalizing so much of my sexuality, and that power to create. And and the different voices. So, most of us live from this mental voice realm and never even get to know the other parts of ourselves. Through the work, I learned like I have a root voice. My yoni has a voice, and my heart has a voice, and all of it has a different voice. And I remember the first time I was doing an exercise for a book, because I was leading a book club for a Wild Feminine book, and it was all about hearing your root voice. And I actually like slowed down enough to do the exercise fully, and this voice came out of nowhere that I'd never heard before. It was kind of like people are like, God, just talk to me. Who's this different voice? And she was like, slow down. What are you doing? Yes. Going too fast. And it was like this sultry, jazzy, rootsy voice that I was just like, whoa. And she just was like, her tone and her energy was so slow. Oh. And I've never like had that voice come out again, but it was so profound to me of, yes, like we really can get out of our head and get into our body and hear these parts of us that have something completely different to say than the mind that's constantly running the narrative.
How magical for women, because we live in our heads so much.
Yeah. Yeah. One of my favorite offerings is yoni steaming. And if folks don't know what that is, it's an ancient practice of bringing steam, warmth, and herbal medicine, the oils, to the pelvic bowl. So this has been done in many cultures, still intact in some cultures, and now it's like reviving here in the US. And has been built in these beautiful wooden boxes that kind of look like a little square box with a little cutout, maybe look like a toilet. And we have crock pots inside. And if you've ever done a tent with a pot and put your head over it and do like a steam inhalation, you can think of that for your whole pelvis. And it's so incredible. And it's like a warm cup of tea for your yoni. And I have 8 boxes. I do a 2-hour circle, teach about the plants, do a little like about plants, about the cycle, where women might want to focus, and then everyone creates their own blend, and then I do a guided steam session.
So everybody's sitting in a circle with their pants off.
Yes, but I have women. It feels very safe. People wear skirts, and so you're wearing a skirt. You wrap it. You fold a towel around the rim, and then they have a blanket to go over them. So really, nothing's ever seen by each other.
I didn't imagine you just sitting there naked. I was just
that we have it, some of them. And so one of the first things I do is an exercise to learn and distinguish between the head and the root voice. And it's pretty easy. And just taking people into asking the same question, but then like being able to drop in deeper into the body. It happens very quickly. And then a different answer comes forth.
Where does the word yoni come from when you're referring to like female anatomy?
It's Sanskrit. I like it. It just sounds nice. I do like the word pussy. And
I was just
I love the word pussy.
Pussy steaming.
Yeah, pussy is great. And Pussy, A Reclamation is by Mama Gina, one of my favorite books.
Same.
And so good.
Please read it, listener. OMG.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Attune to your GPS. Yes. Your great pussy in the sky.
I love it. I read it like once a year.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Just always a good reminder. You always take something different out of it. Connects you deeper.
I love it. I made my husband read it too.
I made Mark read it too. I was like, everybody needs to read this. It's so powerful and important.
What are the benefits of yoni steaming? Like, why would someone want to do that?
Well, so many benefits. So you have the herbs in the water and the steams coming up, carrying the essential oils and the medicine of the plant, as well as the steam and the warmth. One of the biggest reasons for disease and breakdown in the pelvis, anywhere in the body really, is cold. And cold in the idea of kind of Chinese medicine cold, where there's a lack of flow, there's restriction in the tissues. And so we want to make sure that the whole pelvic bowl is juicy and warm and flowing. And, this is for anyone, whether they've given birth or not, but especially when we do give birth, they call it the ring of fire. And whether, the birth is vaginal or not, all that fire and energy that's been cultivated to grow that baby goes out with the babe birthing. And so the mom is then needing to bring and collect that all back in the postpartum time. If there isn't an incredibly nurturing, held container for mama, that can sometimes just like develop cold conditions, which lead to prolapse, which lead to feeling numb, just a sense of disconnection, all sorts of reasons, cycle irregularity. And so basically restoring warmth in any sort of way keeps things juicy there.
How long after birth do you recommend steaming?
I like to say about 10 days. Some people start sooner. You're kind of through the heaviest bleeding part then. And, protocol for postpartum steaming is a little different than just a maintenance kind of style or for steaming for certain conditions. Postpartum, you can steam every day for a while, a few weeks. And really that's like, okay, what's reasonable? How much can you get on it? It's like steam as much as you can. It will tonify the uterus, bring it back into a good location, and it will speed tissue recovery. I can share with you, Taylor, a good blend for you to do postpartum.
My doula offers that, so I'll probably do that with her.
Great. I highly recommend it. I wish I'd known about it when I gave birth. But for me, I've healed some feelings of like prolapse and my uterine lining building up. And I did a series of steams, like 5 days in a row, a few times with a couple weeks apart, and completely shifted my cycle, got rid of that. So it feels gentle, but it is profoundly powerful. It can affect digestion. It's going in and relaxing the entire nervous system and then helping the endocrine system to also come into balance.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What about like women that have had hysterectomies? Like, what are the benefits of yoni steaming for them?
Well, it depends on whether they've had partial or full. And so if they've had partial, you can still be like tuning some of the reproductive organ. But like I said, it's affecting all of the tissues, digestion, it's affecting the soft tissues, it's relaxing the whole like perineum. So like what I find in my sessions with women, because I actually do internal fascial release and reset, that a lot of women are clenched in the root. We've got root lock going on. We're taught to hold it in. We're taught suck it all up. And it creates this weakness in the tissue to just be clenched so much for so long. And so the very act of just steaming can help anyone to just soften into that really grounded sensation of being in the pelvic hammock. And especially with hysterectomies, they're losing part of the whole system that holds the hammock together. Everything is there for a reason. And one of the biggest issues women with hysterectomies have is bladder or rectal prolapse. So keeping things tonified is important.
And then it's obviously probably beneficial for fertility as well.
Oh, yeah. Because a number one reason infertility is cold. A lack of presence there, a lack of flow. People sometimes get the blocked tubes or the ovaries aren't functioning right, or whatever reasons. anytime at a very basic level that we're just bringing warmth and circulation, we're going to have chi and vitality.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I'd like to, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I'd like to go back a little bit and talk about like when you were really coming into your body and allowing yourself to heal your sexuality, and like what that process looked like. Because you were saying, you know, you were trying to find a safe place or a safe way to connect with that. And I know the wild feminine kind of helped you. Was there like what did that look like in your relationships, you know, when you were discovering that?
That's a good question. And I don't know if there's any particular time that I could pinpoint, because by the time I found wild feminine, I was pretty comfortable and at ease in who I was. So I'd say it was, you know, just kind of the very sensual and sassy side of me got to really come to life when I had moved to Arcata. And perhaps it was this, as I evolved kind of in my spirituality and becoming a mom, you know, actually maybe it was becoming a mom. I had my first baby at just about 30, and that was so incredible. I had 2 beautiful home births, and just the power that I felt and the power in a female body and what we are capable of doing really opened a lot of doors for me. And I think it merged this sense of separateness that I had of sexuality and not being bad. I would say it has taken me a long time to like fully merge the sexuality piece. I've been in an 18-year marriage. And there's been, you know, evolutions and evolutions of how that looks. I've done also a lot of Tantra work that really opens and connects those energies. My partner is incredibly present and doesn't understand that separation at all. So he's been a good kind of mirror for me. And it's been a lot of work, but we've been working through how I can just show up and trust the world and trust him. And also, I would say that like being in touch with my erotic blueprint, when I discovered that language of erotic blueprint is, if people don't know, we have got energetic, sensual, sexual, kink, and shapeshifter, according to this one map. And so learning that my kink level is high, which perhaps like goes back to that separation energy. I'm not sure.
The naughty.
Yeah. And just honoring that, that it was very integrative. Awesome. And so I, you know, pretty early on in mamahood was holding women's circles, and just grew up also in my adult stages in naked culture, hippie naked culture. So there was just everywhere around me an ability to love who I was and to bring it all into one, if that makes sense and answers your question.
I love that. And that you get to kind of hold people in that place themselves. And I recently had a session with you that was completely transformational and beautiful. And I really left feeling like a new woman. And actually, I just had my cycle a few months ago, but I started right on the new moon, which I don't remember how many years it's been since I started cycling with the new moon, which was really exciting. And I just felt like extra witchy and connected to myself. But it was really informative, and I'm still like going through the homework. I just got my flannel in for my castor oil packs and got my castor oil and like all the things that you were teaching me to work with. And I have purchased the erotic blueprint, but I haven't yet taken time to do the little tests. So I'm excited to find out where I connect more and how I could be better connected to my own eroticism too, if that eroticism, is that right?
Yeah. I love it, Amber.
I'm just very grateful for you and the work that you do personally.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it brings me so much joy, especially working with sessions like yours, and just like, oh, this is why I do what I do. And when I try to maybe narrow it into a more niched thing, not that that's not niched, but I just bring all the tools, right?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, just following your own intuition as the medicine woman, I think so important and valuable. And for me, someone who also works with others, like I really appreciate that you follow your intuition and, you know, allowed me to surrender to whatever was meant to happen that day.
What service did you get from her?
It was the, what do you call it? The womb?
Currently it's called Woman Wellness Care.
Yes.
And so that is, first session is about 2 hours, and we go into a deep dive of her story, and just I look at everything kind of from all the levels of energetic, lifestyle, biochemical, just the whole picture. I have to like really look at the whole picture so I can kind of understand, and my multi-passionate ways play into that, of bringing in the herbs and bringing in diet, and you know, maybe I'll refer out to a functional medicine practitioner so we can look deeper at hormones. But then I also bring in frequency healing, and I read the biofield, the Akashic records around the person, and tune into like where there's some places of dissonance that need to be integrated for their intention for seeing me. So like in a womb session, if somebody's coming in, you know, I see a lot of sexual trauma from the past, and everything in our life that happens to us is stored in our records in the biofield around us, and it has a charge. And so through sound, through the forks, we're working to create coherence and allow that charge from those experiences to be called back in and brought back in, integrated back into the body. It's like a vibrational soul retrieval. And then when we're more like in flow and in our center, everything aligns, right? And that's the whole point, what goal of what we're trying to do is just be in our center more. So I bring that along with the holistic pelvic care modality, which is based very much around the pelvis, looking at ancestral pieces, epigenetics of what we might be carrying and storing in our body, in our womb space, in our pelvis, from family. And also looking at the balance of masculine and feminine energies. And are we overrunning our yang energy, or do we need more yin in our life? Do we need to be more in the receptive and listening? And so really looking at that through the lens of the reproductive system, and helping women create more flow in their life through the reproductive system with that.
I thought it was neat. Like, one of my favorite things that happened during the session was, well, first of all, when you unveiled my belly, you just took a moment to like love her and praise her and just called her beautiful. And that, I mean, creates safety, but also just makes you feel like, oh, I am beautiful. My body is beautiful. It's doing the work. But then you were able to read my belly button and where the lines were pointing, to kind of, you know, as you're talking about like the masculine and feminine roles, you're able to read my belly button and give me insight to where my energies are going. I thought that was so neat. I'd never ever heard of anything like that before.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's based in Shini's song, which is, you know, a whole work on just based around the abdomen and reading the whole body through the abdomen. And I find it fascinating. The body tells so much. It's a map of, if we really look at everything, you know, there's like modalities where you can just read the eyes and or the face. And so I personally, I once thought of having a practice where I just focused on bellies. It was before I did the womb care. And I think that if everyone massaged their bellies 5 minutes a day, it would be a better world. Because it's all there. Digestion, our second brain in the gut. And, it's all there. We can read around the belly button, the whole story of your relationship with mom and dad and all the organs. Yeah. It's fascinating.
And it was so spot on too. Just the way, like, where I was more blocked, my energy wasn't in good flow on the right side, but it was doing well or better on the left side. And the right side is connected to like father's side, correct? Mm-hmm. And I don't have a good relationship with my dad and haven't. So it was just so fascinating to learn that. And you were feeling the left side, like mostly was ancestral and maternal, of where I was having issues. It was more the weight I was carrying from my mother and her mother, which I thought was very fascinating too and makes so much sense.
Yeah, it's we are these complex beings, but when we break down, it's kind of, simple. And I think just even when we like honor and acknowledge that in you, right, in the session, your body is like, oh, yeah, I'm being resonated with. And then things just like, as soon as I even start talking to something in the body, it'll start to shift. And like where I'm listening in the field with the fork, the tone immediately will change. And everything just wants to be acknowledged and integrated.
Oh, yes. Put that on a t-shirt. So yeah. True. Well, my husband and I have signed up for your, I don't know I forget what it's called, but the couples retreat coming up in October. I would love for you to kind of chat a little bit about that and what that looks like and what the work that you do together as partners.
Yeah, so that is our Sacred Relations workshop, and it's actually one that we've been creating for many, many, many years. And I've been like, okay, Nathan, let's offer this. We've offered it in shortened versions. We teach a lot together. We're pretty busy, so that's why it didn't get on the books yet. But I'm so excited. All my clients are always like, I need this. And what I find is when I do these womb sessions, there's certain ways I hold the body, certain ways I approach the body that women are like, oh my God, can you teach my partner this? Yes. Or I hear, I've never been held that way. Like to be held in the pelvis, in the yoni, without any sexual intention whatsoever is a completely different experience than what we're used to. And,
absolutely.
One of the books I recommend is Women's Anatomy of Arousal. And it's part of what we teach is there's this weird dynamic this is stereotypical, and there's of course outliers, but that, men tend to have, this is kind of in the heterosexual dynamic. Men tend to have a higher sex drive or want more. There's the testosterone's like sex. And as in general, there's less of a drive in women. And I don't think this to be true. It's just that we are multitasking more and they are singular focused. And so for us to really drop in and like have a juicy erotic experience, things need to be right. The environment, like we need to know things are done, or the kids are like somewhere else and they're not going to drop in. And so it's all about like teaching the men how to understand this. And, this can go for any sort of relationship of gender fluidity. There's tends to be one that's more yang, tends to be one that's more yin. And so it all can all apply. But it's allowing for that yin nature to be receptive, to be able to open that, the flower to be able to open and not feel smothered. Because if we feel smothered and never have a chance to open, then we never have a chance to open.
Yeah.
So we're bringing in tools of breath work, which is a crucial tool in my life, and all the work we learned in Tantra, to open the channels. And we're bringing in some practices we've learned from Tantra of creating sacred space, being able to state boundaries and needs, honoring each other, learning listening skills. That's, more, we call it reflective listening, so that we're not just like waiting to speak and we're actually hearing each other. And then some holds. One of my favorite one is called the sacred yoni hold. I go under, I might have done this for you, Amber, I'm not sure. Under the sacrum, over the top of the pubic bone with clothes on, or through the sheets when I'm in session, and just hold. And this is one of the things that I would love to just teach all partners in the world, or everyone, especially female bodied. Because if we're holding there, the man tends to, it's a little different, but just holding there and letting the person receiving just to receive, to breathe, and no intention of expectations, what's going to happen afterward, where it's going to lead. And to hold this as long as one is comfortable, could be 10 minutes, could be a little longer. It allows for a rewiring in the nervous system. It allows for this feeling of safety and spaciousness. And so it is by far probably one of the most powerful things our partners can do for us, is just to hold and do this regularly. And then don't even go into sex. Don't, maybe sometimes it will, but to be receiving it and know that there's no expectation, it amplifies the eroticism completely. And we need the rewiring. Like, so many of us have like a trauma response of, whether it's from the over asking from our partners, or the pushing for, more sex, or from actually, sexual trauma earlier, or experiences where we didn't want to. Our nervous system has to like feel safe, and that's through the touch, and the holding there is the best way.
Oh, I love that. I'm so excited, and I feel like for us it's just coming at such a good time in our relationship. And sex is always hard to talk about, and even with your partners sometimes. So I'm just very excited to like have the opportunity to be informed together and like learn how, what I as the woman receiving needs and can heal a little deeper, and to help my husband like, approach me in a beautiful, receptive way where, I'm just excited to see like where this can take us in our relationship, but also sexually too. I think it's going to be very powerful for both of us just to gain this knowledge and to lean into that more gentler space for sure. And just to share something so spiritually beautiful together, I think will be incredible and magical. Do you still have space available for this? Should any local listeners be interested in joining?
I do. We have space for 2 more couples.
Awesome.
My kids just went back to school. I'm like, okay, let's get back into marketing mode. And yes, we have space for 4 couples at our healing center to do that workshop. And so would love for some promotion. I'm working on a flyer for it, so I can send that to you.
Oh yeah, I'll be happy to hang it up here for you.
Awesome. And yeah, I think you'll really appreciate, the dynamic between Nathan and I is really interesting. He actually tends to run more yin energy, but sexually yang. And then I am running the yang energy in our day-to-day life, but then more sexually yin. And so we have a very like balanced way of teaching, and it's fun to come together. Our other work we do together is in plant medicine. We do work with retreats and work with cactus, and that's been very fun to hold that space for people.
Yeah, you both are just such beautiful, gentle souls, and I've worked with both of you now, and I just want everyone to experience you both. Like, I'm always talking up Nathan, and so is Mark. And, now that I've done session with you, I'm telling everyone, like, just go open yourself up to this whole new experience. I would really love, if you still have time, I would love to kind of hear your love story and how the two of you met and have kind of created this beautiful business together, and how you started teaching and realizing, like, we want to do this together.
Okay. It is a beautiful story, which I do need to put into a book. I'm getting chills right now. And we met, I was 28, he was 28 too, we're 2 months apart. And I had been single for a few years and just kind of seeking in my life where to be, where to land. And I was living with my brother and his wife in Phoenix. I had graduated massage school, almost bought an herbal shop in Scottsdale, and then that all fell through. And I was like, where do I go? And my friend from massage school was living at this farm in the Superstition Mountains east of Phoenix. And it had been there a long time, and they did survival skills and herbalism and learning, roots living. And she's like, Shannon, there is this mountain man out here. And she knew I wanted a mountain man because while living at my brother's, I feng shuied my entire bedroom. Like every single thing in there to the T was intentional. And I just something about that Arizona desert energy helped organize all my water and air. And in my love and relationship corner, I had a dresser and I had made an empty drawer, and I put there the list of who I was calling in, this being that I'd been collecting all the really beautiful parts from past partners, and made a list. And it was very detailed. And I wanted a mountain man with muscles from chopping wood, blue or green eyes, like sexual appetite, all this whole long thing. And I just talked for like a year as though he was already in my life. I would say things like, oh, I love how you adore me and brush my hair and call me beautiful. And I love just how you make me feel juicy inside. And so I was creating this being in my life. And so after the whole herbal store purchase fell through, I was ready to move to Portland. And then she got me out there to this farm, and she was like, he's really huge. But then I'm like, oh, he's not, not this giant. He's 6'5". He's like a Viking. But I'm like, I can do that. I can handle him.
Viking.
So I stayed there 4 days, and it was April 18th when I arrived. And the next day there was there was 4 people on the farm. It was the owner, my friend Nathan, and me. And he's like, we're going to harvest wild oats. And so we were harvesting wild oats on the hillside, and we started talking about our life and our visions. And we both wanted the same thing out of life, of a retreat center, of rewilding people. And I didn't know that word quite yet. He was very into that. He had done tracker school, and he's a mountain man and guiding. And but our vision was very similar. I was like, oh my God, who is this man? And I got really sunburned, and he was rubbing. We got back to the farm, and I'm like, I got to do your chart. And I'm a, maybe a more than amateur astrologist, but I know what to look for. And I wanted a lot of Sag with a little Capricorn. And so I'm looking at his chart, and I see that he is a Sag sun and moon on the Capricorn cusp. And I just look, and my whole body like lights up, and I turn around and look at him. He's sitting right behind me, and he just stares into my eyes and did not look away. And my whole belly's like, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh my God. And so then the next day, which happened to be 420, so ironic, I'm harvesting calendula, and he keeps walking past me. I'm like, am I going to get to see him again? I just really didn't understand like the farm yet. And finally he's like, you want to go on a picnic? And So we go and he feeds me. We're like sitting on the rock along the creek and he's feeding me frozen persimmons from the farm and pecans and just totally swept me off my feet. And we're swimming in the swimming hole, so we're naked together already. And then we're in the beautiful stone community shower house washing each other's hair. And he's like, I don't have any sheets. Do you want to go on a date? And the date was the closest store is an hour and a half away, a Walmart. And so we went on a date, got him sheets. I'm like, okay, I'll cuddle you. We'll see. And I left the next day and like could see like our whole life together. But it was kind of scary. Like I wasn't this like, oh my God, I'm totally surrendering to this. It was intense. And he came to visit me the next week as he was flying somewhere. And then after that, when he came back, I'm like, what the hell? I have nothing else to do. I'm going to come live there for a few weeks and we'll see what happens. And when I got there, there was a retreat going on. And so I had to stay in his yurt because everything was full. And I'm like, after these 5 days, I'm moving on my own space and we're going to take this slow. And by the end of the 5 days, of course, we were in love. And so we lived there for 6 months together and it was so romantic. And I became the cook on the farm. We learned a lot about homesteading there. And come to find out, he lived in this beautiful, they called them yurpies, mixed between a teepee and a yurt. Kind of looked like little hobbit holes. And he'd left half of it empty because he too was doing the same practices of calling in his beloved. His mom had taught him so much about manifestation and power of words and how you create your world. And Spirit had led him to these mountains because he would say to someone or his family, drop me off in these mountains and pick me up, so and such place in 5 days. And he'd just wander and Spirit had guided him to these mountains to meet his beloved. And so
crying.
It's pretty powerful. And
wow.
And then he also he loved ganja. And I'm like, I had just lived in Humboldt, and I'm like, let me take you to Humboldt. He came from Utah. He'd like the swag herb, and I was like, oh gosh. And so I opened his world to festivals and plant medicine, and that forever changed him. And so by the end of that year, we were living back in Humboldt and engaged. And then pretty shortly after, pregnant. The first baby came along a little sooner than we planned, but it was very sweet. And so forever we've had this love story fueling a desire to bring it to the world, to bring the power manifestation of creation, of living on the land, of rewilding.
I love that. That's so beautiful. And so like both Taylor and I also had our own lists for our husbands, and we've talked to a few other guests who mentioned their list to finding their love. I just think it's so powerful, and our minds are so powerful. We can literally create anything and call in exactly what we desire and what's meant for us. And I think that's so beautiful that he also had a space for you and had been doing that too. So precious. Amazing. Well, I'm so glad that the two of your souls met each other and have created such a powerful life together and help others do the same. It's truly a gift. And I'm just so grateful to have met both of you. We actually met them because of Nathan's mom, who does microgreens in her garage. They're incredible. For all you local listeners, go connect with Pedal Pushers. So good, so lovely. Cindy is delightful. But she put us in touch with Shannon and Nathan as soon as we moved out here, and I was like, oh yeah, they're totally my vibe. I can't wait to go and enjoy their magic. So there's just everything you guys do, we want to participate in. Eventually, it's definitely a part of our path. And I really hope that other people here in Oregon or wherever come to find you as well and be a part of the magic the two of you are creating. It's truly powerful.
Thank you, Amber.
Is there anything else that you would like to share before we start wrapping things up?
I don't think so, but we talked about the oracle card, and when I was like kind of thinking about what I want to share, I realized that there's a little story to the oracle cards that I pulled this morning, and I would love to bring that in because I feel like it is a message for the audience and the world.
100%.
And so I wish I brought the deck in. It's the herbiary. It's newer deck.
I have that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't remember who wrote it, but it's so beautiful, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely stunning.
So it's all herbs, and they're pretty short messages. And I was sitting there, and I was asking about support with a habit that I felt was not serving me, that I needed to like completely let go of. And the card that came up was apple, which I didn't even know apple was in that herb deck. And it was forbidden fruit.
Wow.
And it was, what are you forbidding yourself? And it just completely turned my whole perspective. And it makes me think a lot about the work I do with women and like, I see so much of this. What are we forbidding ourselves and then cutting off from ourselves? What part are we not allowing? And, it's this whole goes back to what I shared of this living in this polarized world of good and evil. And really it's all okay, right? Like, how do we just be okay with all of it? And then I pulled one more card, and it was finding grace. And it was the borage card. I think they call it star thistle in there, or starflower. But so I really just like kind of want to bring this message forth of like, actually what I was asking about maybe was the wrong question, and maybe the wrong intention of like, it's something I've like a habit I've been trying to like kill off for 26 years, but maybe I'm not headed in the right direction with it. And to look in our lives of like changing that language, like, and some people I work with eating disorders, of changing the language around like really embracing everything, right? And allowing, it's this yo-yo culture that gets us into these places of clenched energy and restriction and forbidding. And so really allowing grace to let everything flow and everything to be held and perfect and beautiful, remembering our wholeness.
Oh, I love that. That definitely resonates, just for me personally, and how life has been as of the past couple of weeks. And I think that's a really beautiful message for us all to keep in mind, because our culture and the culture we've been raised in and our parents have been raised in is dangerous when it comes to the restricting, and the diet culture in particular is just really, not to call it evil, but kind of evil in its own way,
Right.
And so just allowing ourselves to have that grace and to do things again in moderation and in balance. We have to have that balance in everything that we do. Absolutely. Amazing. Love that. Well, at the very end, we love to ask our guests 2 questions. And so the first question is, what is something that you do for self-care that you just can't live without for yourself?
Chocolate.
Yes.
I would say chocolate all the way. And if I'm at my most delightfulness in it, I'm rubbing it on myself and friends.
Oh, I love it. Great. Is there a particular kind of chocolate that's like your go-to?
I really like Lulu's, and there's like this brown package now. I can't remember the name of it, that's come out with maple sugar in it. But I'm a chocolatier. I've made chocolate to make raw, like this vegan caramel chocolates, because I can't eat dairy. And so There's so many good brands out there now.
I want to
love them.
try your chocolates next time. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And then if you could tell your younger self, whether that be your younger self far in the past or all the way up to yesterday, one thing, what would it be?
Just fucking go for it and get into real estate.
Nice.
No kidding.
Buy a house when you're 10 so that you're not screwed now.
Yeah.
Fucking for real.
Amazing.
I love that so much. Thank you so much, Shannon, for spending time with us today and sharing your story. It's absolutely beautiful. Mm-hmm. You're beautiful. So grateful for your energy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Taylor. Thank you, Amber. It was a delight to share with you both.
Thank you. So, our listeners, I almost said guests and guests, go for a walk, buy some water.
Or don't, because it's smoky outside. Go to the gym and walk. Eat some chocolate. Do you have one?
Oh, offerings. Yes. Go take a salt bath.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I need that for sure.
Yeah. With all of this right now, take a salt heavy. Pour the whole bag in there.
Yeah. I really miss outside. Yeah. If it's safe to go outside, do it.
Yeah. If not, just, close your eyes and pretend like you're by water.
I look at the smoke and I always have to tell myself that it's fog. Otherwise, I just spiral out. It's just fog. It's just fog.
That's a good one.
Anyways.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Find us on TikTok and Instagram at Waking Up the Witch.
Please email us your witchy stories, ghost stories, corrections, and advice questions to wakingupthewitch@gmail.com.
Love you.
Love you.